Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the words of the Horowitz Chaim, Sefer NIDCHEI YISRAEL, and we're speaking about the unfortunate plight of Klal Yisrael at this time in history, when the Horowitz Chaim is speaking about where they abandoned the old country and they went off to the far-flung corners of the world like America and beyond, and they began rapidly losing their shaykhs, their connection to Yiddishkeit, to Torah, to mitzvahs. They became lax in the world of averas, of sinning, and they became complacent and assimilated and distant from Yadus, from Yiddishkeit, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he's going to begin to explain more why that is, Rachman al-Itzlan. Ube'emes ikar, but the truth is, the main reason, Mashin is maitetu sham shem yisei adas, the main reason that there's a decline in the level of Torah observance, laharbe v'harbe anashim, to many people, whom yidnei chesra in yedias haTorah, is because they're lacking a real understanding of what the Torah says. V'nizbav kol zeh gufa yidei roiv ha'avoda ha'musa, and it happens often because they're working so hard, aleha kol hayomim, all of their days. They're busy night and day working. They're trying to make another dollar. They're working physical labor. They're working intellectual labor. They're running from one factory to another, and they're trying to make a deal and make a dollar and make a penny. And whatever they're doing, they're so busy, they don't even learn anymore. When we get to the 37th chapter, in Yetz Hashem of NIDCHEI YISRAEL, says the Horowitz Chaim, I'll speak about this at greater length. They forgot the severity of transgressing a prohibition in the Torah. And they forgot the great holiness and sanctity that is found in the mitzvahs of the Torah. Many people make mistakes and they think, they think that many of the positive commandments that are written in the Torah, no, they're just a nice minhag. Oh, that thing over there, take the lulav and the esrog. It's such a nice. I remember when I was a child, it was such a nice thing. We used to go to the sukkah, and we'd have a meal in the sukkah, and we'd shake the daled minim. It was such a nice thing. It's just, and they think to themselves, it's not really a mitzvah. It's not really a command that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. It is just a nice custom. It brings the family together. It's good, warm, fuzzy memories that I have. And that's a gigantic mistake, says the Horowitz Chaim. They think about many of the sins, the averos that it says explicitly in the Torah. For example, you cannot mix wool and linen together in a clothing garment. Or rounding off the corners of your head, and they cutting off your sideburns and the like. Or destroying your beard with a razor. And there are many lav and many negative commandments like this. They say, oh, that Jewish haircut, it's just a minhag. Yeah, the clothes, you can't wear a Hugo Boss suit because there's shot, isn't it? It's just a minhag. Look, I'm an American now. I'm over here. I'm making money. I'm a rich person. I got to dress the part over here. That's not an isser. That's not a prohibition in the Torah. It's just a nice minhag. I don't keep those minhagim anymore. And obviously, as the Horowitz Chaim, this is a very big mistake that people were making. And they were trading in the real Kedushas HaTorah for what they mistakenly understood as the minhagim, as customs. And so too when it comes to Shabbos, which again the chilul, the desecration of Shabbos was rampant when the Jews came to America. If they wanted to make money, they wanted to have a job, they were forced almost to work on Shabbos unless you were very strong in your commitment and your dedication to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His Torah. Many people were mechal Shabbos. Now, how could they justify that? And they don't realize, and they have no idea how severe the prohibitions of transgressing Shabbos are. And they think, look, there's so many malachas, so many things you can't do on Shabbos, and it's not so bad. But there's other lavin, there are other negative commandments in the Torah that those are really bad, and they're more careful with that perhaps. The truth is, I'll call lav derais on every single prohibition that is min Torah from the Torah. If you did it b'mezid, which means you knowingly transgressed the prohibition. Hu gam kein rasha gamor. It's true. He's a complete rasha. He's not allowed to give testimony. For example, you can never call him up under the chuppah to be a witness. And if he swears, we don't believe him. But the prohibitions of Shabbos are much more severe than all of the negative commandments in the Torah. And the truth is, a person who transgressed Shabbos, they deserve misas bezdin, to be killed by the bezdin. Like it says, those that desecrate the Shabbos, they will certainly die. Now, says the Chavetz Chaim, even though that nowadays, since we don't have a Beis HaMikdash, so the bezdin cannot act in line with the four ways of killing a person. Mikol Makom, nevertheless, din arba misas leibatlu, the four types of death sentences, that itself was not batul, that was not nullified. It's still around the world. It's still here. As he writes, Umishin is chayiv skila, someone that's chayiv skila, the stoning to death, noifel minagag, they'll fall from the roof, or chayiv dorastai, or an animal come and tear them up. V'chein chayiv misas ki agam, so to the other types of misas bezdin, of the death penalties of the bezdin, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will find a way to meet it out in this world in a more unusual kind of a way. Like it's written in the Gemara. So says the Chavetz Chaim, Shabbos is serious. It's a serious thing, and people think it's not. And therefore, the bigger Amaretz, the more that you become ignorant, the more distant you get from the Torah, the more you don't learn, the more you're busy with the work, the more you're going to end up making these terrible mistakes. Sar min haderech, turn away from the derech of Yadus, of Torah and of mitzvahs. And the Chavetz Chaim saying it's painful to see such a thing for the Jewish people. Have a wonderful day.